It's presidential, the outcome evidential. We strive for higher mental. This time, no accidental. We shine.
Welcome back to You Already Know What It Is. Remember, repeat. And I'm your host with the most, Mugga Boy, right? Michael Boyd. If y'all don't know me, Michael Boyd, Mugga Boy, I'm the same person, right? Everybody that knows me calls me Mugga. But, you know what I mean? Y'all got the source right there. So it's a beautiful day outside today. You know what I mean? We getting some air. I felt like I wanted to remember, repeat. Get some good, fresh air, some good energy. You know what I mean? And send a message, right? Yeah, man, I hope y'all are reading, though. I hope y'all are picking up books on your own time. You know what I mean? Whatever you reading, type it in the comments, man. Let's start some conversation. Y'all probably could be recommending me to a book. I love books, and that right there make me happy, you feel me? But let's go. Banks was resistant to that sort of evolution. His mind was stuck in the mid-90s, and he was in no hurry to release it from the trap. To be fair to Banks, it's actually a natural instinct. Scientists are starting to learn that the music we listen to as teenagers has a great impact on us than music we might hear at any other point in our lives. Our brains are developing at their fastest pace between 12 and 22, and it seems that whatever we listen to during that period tends to get embedded in our minds forever. Banks was around 14 years old when Biggie and Pac were both popping, so that makes sense that they still resonate with him so deeply. I can relate. I still love the music from when I was at that age too. The difference is that I haven't patterned my career after KRS-One and Kool G Rap. What would be the point of that? They were both incredible in their moment, but I've always been more concerned about creating my own moments rather than copying theirs. When Banks made that commitment to me, I realized he's gone as far as he could go. In fact, my exact thought was, this is someone I can't invest another minute or dollar in. Everyone knows someone like Banks, the person who only respects a certain era and thinks everyone else is trash. It could be music, but it could also be TV, film, sports, or fashion. At first, it seems kind of cool that they're so passionate about protecting the legacy, but after a while, it gets tired. Most people don't want to keep being lectured about why whatever they're enjoying in the present isn't as good as what came before it. It's great to respect the past, but never to the point that it stops you from moving into the future or even making the most out of the present. People who are stuck in the past age prematurely. Their driver's license might say that they're 30, but their mentality is older than a lot of folks in their 50s and 60s. Age isn't about what year you were born. It's about how you approach the year you're in right now. If you're open to new experiences, willing to take chances, and curious about new topics, you're young, period. On the other hand, if you're set in your ways and aren't interested in trying new things or think you've learned all there is to know, then you're old. In fact, you're dying. My beard has a couple of gray hairs in there, but I'm young. I feel and look fresh. Not because I still got a six-pack or wear cool sneakers, but because my spirit is youthful. I'm as excited about what's going to happen this year as I was in 2002 or 2012. Someone could put me on to a new rapper tomorrow, and I'd be as pumped as the first time I heard Nas. Just like I could watch a new sitcom and laugh as hard as the first time I watched Sanford and Son. I'm never going to cut myself off from new experiences. I really did try to help Banks, but you can't help anyone who is stuck in either time or mind frame. If you feel stuck yourself, then you have to have the courage to come out of whatever little cocoon you've wrapped around yourself and experience all the excitement the world still has to offer. Tony Yayo's issue were a little different. Like Banks, Yayo was from my neighborhood, but unlike Banks, he didn't stay on his stoop. He was very much out in the streets and running straight into as much action as he could find. Yayo was wild from the day I met him. In our world, it was a temperament that served him well. He was liable to do anything anytime, and people gave him a wide berth because of it. At the time, I aided Yayo in being so wild as a crew. We needed that aggressive and unpredictable energy. Even after we first started experiencing success, we were still living that lifestyle. We didn't see any reason to change. That meant we were going to be very aggressive in taking what we felt was ours. If someone disrespected us or got in our way, our response was to get them out of our way, whatever it took. One of my skills is that I absorb information and process it faster than most people. So even as we were running wild through America's stadiums, nightclubs, and hotels, I was beginning to pick up signals that we were going to have to change how we approach things. The most obvious sign was that there were police everywhere we went. Stadium concourses, hotel lobbies, out in front of clubs. The cops were always there. You'd think there was no other crime happening in whatever city we were in, considering the way they followed us around. Some of the other signs were less observable. There was a lot of nervous energy around us. It's an easy thing to miss when everything is moving so fast. But if you look past people's acquiescence, the fear is evident. I could read it in the radio jocks, studio engineers, TV hosts, club managers, booking agents, and program managers. They wanted to do business with us, but not if they thought a gun fight might break out at any second. Realizing this, I accepted that I have to change how I approach disagreements and confrontations. I was going to express my dissatisfaction differently. I would have to press for what I wanted using managers and agents. I was going to have to fight with lawyers. I was going to have to diversify my strategies if I wanted to capitalize on the opportunities that success was presenting us. I also recognize that we have to change how we approach time, commitments. Whoa, fucking bugs is out here. God damn. Oh. All right, we back, man. I just had to shake the bugs off me. You know what I mean? I also recognize that we have to change how we approach time commitments in the streets. If you want to start selling crack at 1 p.m., then that's when you started. If you want to take a break at 5 p.m., you took it. Want to skip 2 days? That's outright, that's on you. Just make sure you get it sold. It's a lifestyle that conditions you to do what you want, when you want, so long as you got the product moved. It's not a lifestyle, however, that's conducive to interacting with corporations. If a radio station expects you at 8 a.m., you shouldn't wander in at 1 p.m. and still expect them to play your song. Just like if a record label books you to record in the studio for 2 weeks, you shouldn't wait till the 10th day to finally show up and start recording. Transitioning from the street lifestyle to a more public persona was going to require a new mindset. Yayo didn't seem to register that. If I got into a disagreement with another artist, Yayo's reaction was, let's just bang him, because that would have been his response back in the neighborhood. If we got 100,000 for a series of club appearances, Yayo wasn't thinking about putting in the bank. His first thought would be, hey, this could get us 3.5 kilos of cocaine. Let's flip those and we'll be sitting on some real money. Time and time again, I have to tell him, Yayo, we can't do that. Nothing else is gonna work if we're just running around doing that dumb shit. We're gonna be out here just as fast as we got in here. We're gonna be out of here just as fast as we got in here. In Yayo's mind, I was betting too uptight. We had always done what we wanted, how we wanted, when we wanted. That's the attitude that had made us hot. Why did we have to change? In retrospect, a large part of the problem was that success initially came very easily to Yayo. He was locked up when Get Rich or Die Trying first broke. As soon as he got out of jail, I put him on stage. There was no transition period. He didn't have to spend time as an unknown MC slowly getting his feet wet, learning how to interact with industry folks, and getting a feel of what it was like to be around corporate people. Instead, I dropped him directly into the national spotlight and put a lot of money in his hands at the same time. I should have realized that it was not the ideal circumstance in which to suddenly ask him to change habits that had been developed over a lifetime. If anything, I should have known those habits would establish an even tighter grip on him. I learned that when things are moving fast and you're constantly being put in a new situation and environments, most people tend to lean back into their old habits, not developing new ones. After years of begging, cajoling, and threatening them to start doing things differently, I had to accept that Yayo and Banks were not capable of doing much more than what they were used to. You can lead a horse to a water, but you can't make it drink. Those guys had been standing by the well for years and were still going to die of thirst. It was extremely disappointing, but I had to accept that many of their dominant character traits, recklessness, resentment, and a lack of discipline, were always going to impede their progress. It was just who they were. It might not sound like it, but I worked very hard to ensure their success. As I've said, I would have loved for Yayo to have become the next 50 Cent. If Yayo had been able to capitalize on his opportunities, it would have opened so many doors and empowered me to move even faster. I could have transitioned to focusing on other opportunities a lot earlier. Instead, I ended up having to be 50 Cent for a lot longer than I ever intended. It wasn't just Yayo who I wanted to elevate. The idea was for everyone associated with G-Unit to eventually become bosses in their own right. All they had to do was follow my example. I had set them up to succeed by putting them on my records and letting them share the stage with me on tour. Once they were established, all they had to do was replicate the same formula with new acts that they had selected. Repeating the process all the way down, they never did it. Either they didn't want to, or they just didn't know how to identify new artists that they could then own a piece of. My intention was for G-Unit to be the first branches in a family tree that started with me and would go on to launch generations of rappers. Instead, I created a family tree that lived for one generation before dying. It shriveled up. I birthed my sons, but they didn't bear me any children. It all stopped with them. Family, you already know, right? Read, remember, repeat. Knowledge will get it to you, man, but you got to apply the knowledge, right? So get the knowledge first and then apply it. You already know.
It's presidential, the outcome evidential. We strive for higher mental. This time no accidental. We shine because